Hi, Mark. So AI is a disruptive force that all listed companies and, of course, their IR teams need to proactively address, both for strategic opportunities and potential challenges. So I'd love to hear from you. How should a public company frame the potential negative impacts of AI on the business to drive confidence and valuation resilience?
Yeah, it's interesting. Coming out of this apocalypse that we've just had, I think that's top of mind for a number of management teams. I think one of the things that's most distinctive about where we are today, there was a something that was mentioned last week that there are about 118 billion people who have lived on the earth, and about 99% of them have not experienced an innovation cycle. And when you think about it in that context and the period of time that we are now and overlaying the non-linearity of it, I think what management teams are experiencing as it relates to describing the impact of AI in their business is less about forecasting weather and having a consistent pattern and more about a series of small earthquakes that have the potential to really negatively impact valuation resilience if not addressed. So, what we've been talking to clients about is what are the value destroying messages to deliver to investors? What are the messages that actually drive valuation resilience and how that actually changes the conversation? So, very specifically, in terms of the three value destroying messages, those have been, and we've seen these in the market, unfortunately, minimizing the impact of AI on the business model. The second is talking about the technology and not about the relative economics on the business. And the third is describing that the company will be in a period of reinvention without providing a transition bridge that involves the economics. As you know, during periods of technological disruption and transformation, markets are going to punish uncertainty more than they punish bad news. So it's really important to think about that. So our four principles for public companies that we share with our clients are really these. Fundamentally, we want investors to hear that AI may change the starting point for you as an investor, but it doesn't impact our long-term ability to create value for you as holders. And there are really four dimensions to that. The first is acknowledge the impact clearly and with clarity. The second is to separate the impact on legacy earnings from the future earnings potential of the company. The third is to demonstrate control over the pace of change. The company has a strategy and we're operating against it. And the fourth is defining the new right to win in the context of AI over time. And when you apply those four principles, four or five things happen. The first is you're moving from an uncertainty to a modelable risk. So your valuation resilience improves automatically. The second is the disruption that AI creates is really more of a managed transition. The third is you're pivoting from a decline in the narrative quality of the company to a much more decisive message around capital allocation discipline and the future earnings associated with that. And then finally, that the AI narrative shifts from valuation threat to strategy execution. And so I think those four are really critical for companies to really drive for valuation resilience. What do you think about that, David?
I think that's extremely interesting. And I was contemplating when the last time was historically that we were in a period like this where you had an emerging not necessarily a technology, but an emerging force, let's say, that needed to be dealt with by everybody, and it wasn't clear necessarily how to do that. So there's a sharp learning curve that was needed. I wonder if it's around maybe climate change. Is that the last time that something like that, when we were talking about global warming and the implications of climate change on a business? It doesn't seem like maybe that was even as sharp as this one.